ain't fashion files, you know you drive me wild. I want you to walk straight pose, you know your style is gold. I want you to walk straight pose, you know your style is gold. I want you to walk straight pose, you know your style is gold. Catch me if you can, let's dance to the runway. We can take these raps all the way to...
Welcome back to Fashion Files with Karis Reneé. I'm your host, Karis Reneé, and I'm excited to have you here with us today. Okay, this week's episode is going to be a little different. So I realized that we just jumped right in, and some of y'all don't know who I am. So this episode is going to be a getting to know the host episode, which of course is me, Karis Reneé. So you'll learn a little bit about my background, why and how I fell in love with fashion, a little bit about what I do now, and we'll just have fun. And so I have Erica and Joe behind the camera. They're going to throw some questions at me, mainly Erica, so you may or may not hear her voice. And we're going to just jump right in. And so you can learn a little bit about me. All right, let's get started.
Let's get right into it. So how did you first get into fashion?
How did I first get into fashion? Well, I feel like I've been in fashion pretty much my whole life. Since I was a kid, I always enjoyed, after I got over my tomboy phase. If you saw one of the previous episodes, you saw that I was a little bit of a tomboy growing up. I ran with the boys. I was really rough. I actually still am really rough. I'm super girly on the outside, but I'm very rough, which a lot of people don't believe. But if you know me, you know that about me. So I feel like I always loved playing dress up. I can remember this one picture of me with like these camo shorts on or a camo hat. And I have like these ruby red slippers, like the little Wizard of Oz slippers, heels on. So clearly I always had a love for heels and just like dressing up. And my family is very creative. So my mom has always dibbled and dabbled in all things creative, like anything artistic and designing and something with your hands. She's always been into that. My grandma was super fashionable. I loved playing dress up in her closet. She grew up, she was, let's call her a house manager because I like that better. And so she was always handed down items from her employers. And so her closet was always full of beautiful fashion pieces. And her jewelry collection was unmatched. And so I used to play in all of her things, and I loved that. And then I also have an aunt who was a seamstress. And so it kind of just all ran in the family, trying on my grandma's clothes, my grandma's shoes, jewelries, heels, and things of that sort, and started to collect my own clothes. And so as I continued to grow up, once I got into my teenage years, I was the girl that wore heels every day to school and high school. If you ask any of my friends in high school, that's what I was known as. I loved heels, still love heels to this day, and I wore heels every day. And so once I got off into college, I was the go-to person for all of my friends whenever it was like, what are we wearing out this weekend or to this party or whatever. I was always the one that all of my friends came to when they wanted advice on what to wear, because I was never afraid of like trying different things and putting looks together and putting different pieces. And that's kind of when I fell in love with like styling. And so I'm sure we'll get into more details about me styling. But yeah, that's I've always kind of been into it, like from a young age up until my teenage and young adult years.
Good. So before we get to the next question, I got to ask, what was your grandmother's favorite piece that you like to put on?
So I loved putting on her fur coats because as a kid, you see fur coats and you just think that's just so elegant and glamorous and not something that you see people wearing every day. And she always had these long statement fur coats and short fur coats as well. And I actually have a fur coat from my grandma that was passed down to me when she passed. And I literally tried to wear it every New Year's Eve and bring in the new year with a piece reminding me of her.
I love that. So what has your fashion journey been like so far?
I've done retail, of course. I started in retail when I was a kid, even though sometimes my retail journey is a little backwards because my first job, if you guys are I'm about to tell my age a little bit, but that's okay. If you guys are from Raleigh, you may remember this store, but my first job ever was at a store called Fashion Sense. It was probably similar to like today's city trends. And so that was my very first job. I was there for a couple months over the summer and I was supposed to still work it when I went into school during high school. It was my senior year. I was 15, 16, somewhere around there. And then I got an internship with the bank as state employees, and they were paying me more. And I was able to leave school early, so I had to leave my job at Fashion Sense, and I was so sad because I really loved it. I've always been a customer service driven person. I love being around people, helping people, talking to people, working with people. And so I was super excited about that job, and I love that job. But that's kind of where I started. And then from there, I didn't get back into retail until way later in my career, which a lot of people grow from retail and they grow in their career when it comes to fashion because a lot of people think that's like the starting place and the foundation. But I was blessed to be able to hop into other things like styling, which is what I love the most, and not have to kind of have that path. When I graduated after my undergraduate degree at A&T, Aggie Pride, I moved to Charlotte and then went to the Art Institute and studied fashion marketing and merchandising. And that's kind of where I started. I was able to get some internships. My first internship was actually with Charlotte Style Magazine with Bridget. Hi, Bri. And she actually helped catapult my journey into fashion. And one of the things that I loved when I was growing up, and I still do to this day, is collecting fashion magazines because I wanted to be like the next Anna Wintour. I wanted to actually be a fashion editor, or I actually also wanted to be a publisher for a fashion magazine when I was young, which is why I had a graphics degree. And so I went on to get that marketing degree to be able to try to tie everything together. And I got an internship with a fashion magazine, and it was really what catapulted my fashion career. And so from there, I did styling, I did image consulting, I managed fashion shows, I taught fashion modeling, I worked at Belk in the fashion office under Arlene Goldstein, which also is somebody that is very instrumental in my fashion journey. She was the VP of fashion at Belk. Belk also put me on the map as far as being able to get my first work published in magazines like Vogue and InStyle and 17 and the list goes on and on. And so from there, after all of those things, I was then moved back into retail because I wanted to do visual merchandising. It was something I used to walk past the stores in the mall and walk past H&M and be like, H&M and Forever 21 at this time were the moments when it came to visual merchandising. And so I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And I was able to eventually get on at H&M and become a visual merchandiser for H&M. And that's kind of when my retail story started over. And so from there, I did visual merchandising. I've also managed smaller boutiques. I was a manager for a boutique for a very long time, and I loved that store. It was called Boutique. It was on Franklin Street on UNC Chapel Hill's campus. I loved managing the store. I loved being able to tell the story with all of the windows. And the difference was with H&M, I had to kind of go by the book and their guide and make everything look the way that they wanted to. But when I was able to manage the boutique here, it was kind of me being able to tell my own story. And I loved that. And I love the girls that worked with me. The only thing I hated about that was the HR aspect. I honestly don't really like managing people. I like managing things, projects, that sort of thing. And so, like I said, styling, visual merchandising, sales associate, manager. Those of you that have been on the flame journey for quite some time, you know that I previously also had an online boutique. And so I've done buying and trend forecasting and a little bit of everything. Like with my fashion journey, it literally goes on and on. I could talk about it for days because I literally have done so much. And then it catapulted me into also writing for fashion because of my expertise. And so I then went on to get a fashion journalism degree. from the Academy of Art University. I was a COVID graduate. I'm still mad that I didn't get to walk across the stage. And honestly, Academy of Art, if y'all don't invite us back so that we can walk across the stage, I really feel some type of way about that. And I really want to do that. And shout out to all the COVID graduates. I'm sorry, because I know some of y'all, it was y'all first time and y'all never got it. So I honestly have to be careful with complaining about that because this was my third degree. So, but anyways, I worked really hard for that degree. My fashion journalism degree, my fashion marketing degree, and then of course my graphics degree is why I'm always pushing about being able to tell creative stories and make people beautiful through clothing. And so it kind of is my big three, and I kind of tie all the three together to be able to do what I do now. And of course, I've also been an editor for my own fashion magazine, Flame. We have 2 episodes that have previously dropped. Hopefully, we will continue that story and have more issues that come out. And now I am a podcast host.
What is your favorite thing? I know you mentioned visual merchandising, styling, modeling, image consulting, writing, fashion writing. Like, what is your favorite thing out of all those things, or do you just love all things fashion?
I definitely love all things fashion, but my favorite thing out of all of those is styling and costume design, which I didn't touch on yet, but styling and costume design, because I really do love creative storytelling. And so to be able to tell a story with visuals, with clothes, and especially when it comes to personal styling, being able to make someone feel beautiful and kind of change their outlook or their relationship with clothes, I love that. But I also love editorial styling and costume design, because editorial, I'm able to create and tell my own stories and in an artistic way. So I love that. And then with costume design, I'm able to bring somebody else's vision to life and tell a story and create character plots and be able to tell who that character is with what they wear. So before we get into Erica asking me more questions for you guys to get to know me, I wanted to talk about our shirt. So we have this beautiful new shirt. It says Fashion Files with our logo on the front. And the back has this beautiful design that says, sometimes you're the trend and sometimes you're the classic that never fades. And so we are going to be doing a giveaway to 10 lucky winners. And all you have to do is subscribe, of course, to us on YouTube, to Fashion Files, and follow us on all of our platforms, I Love Flame, and our new Instagram page, Flame Fashion Files, and tag a friend. And then you can enter to win the shirt. Well, like I said, we'll have 10 lucky giveaways, and good luck.
Who are your biggest fashion inspirations?
It's always hard for me to name my favorites for certain things. So I'm really good at putting things in specific genres. So top of the mind, when I think about who inspires me as far as stylists, you have Colin Carter, who is Cardi B's stylist. I love him down and the stories that he tells with clothes. I love it. Jay Bowen, I love his styling. He does a lot of your gospel artists that you know and love. Somebody else who I also look up to in the styling realm is Law Roach. Of course, he's done so much with Zendaya. So some of the style influences that I love are people like Tiana Taylor. Her style eats down. She can do no wrong, and she's so versatile as well. Of course, like I mentioned before, since I love Colin, I love Cardi B's style. She's so influential as well. Speaking of, I know a lot of people, y'all gonna be like, oh my God, but I'm gonna switch to this. And I'm gonna say also, in my college years, I was very fond of Nicki Minaj style because I was very into Harajuku fashion. I still love her style as well. And I think that even now, especially now because she's currently on tour, her style has started to evolve again. And I've been loving it. I've been loving the things that she has been showing on the Pink Friday tour. Speaking of tours, Beyonce. Now, as much as y'all know I love Beyonce, she hasn't always been somebody that I love when it comes to styling. But now, since the Renaissance tour, yeah, the looks on the Renaissance tour ate down. I loved all of those looks, and she creates moments that changes history. From Renaissance, we went into this whole Renaissance moment. Even now with Cowboy Carter, you've seen that trend take off as well. And so those are the type of people that really inspire me as far as their style. But as far as some of the designers, my favorite designer is Betsy Johnson. And I love her because I'm a maximalist and I just love her fun and quirky ways. And when it comes to not taking fashion so serious, I love that and somebody that can kind of play. I also love Patricia Fields as a costume designer. She's very inspiring when it comes to costume design, as well as Ruth E. Carter, who I'm sure you guys know. She's done all of the Black Panther and some of the other big name Black movies that you probably know and love. And she also recently won a costume designer award. And so I love her down. And so, yeah, so those are some of the people that I can like kind of break out into the different genres of people that I kind of look up to and that I'm inspired by.
Okay, so speaking of style, how would you describe your personal style?
Yes, so my personal style, well, as you know, I am very much a maximalist. I couldn't be a minimalist if I tried. My style, I think, is very bold and super feminine and girly mixed with a little bit of edge.
So what's one fashion trend you're loving right now? Actually, give us one or two.
All right, so one fashion trend that I'm loving right now, we already know is big bow energy. I've already loved bows since I was a kid, and so to see them on the runway and people starting to introduce them into clothes, I'm really all about because I've always worn bows. And so now to be able to see things that I can go and incorporate into my wardrobe, I love that. Let's see, another trend that I love. I love sheer. So the sheer fantasy trend, I love combining sheer with something. It's kind of how I kind of tie in some of my edgy looks and making them more feminine. And so I love a good, because I am a bold color girl, but I also wear black, which I know it's like I'm either in a color, a bright color, or black. It's like no in between, but I actually have no gray area in any place in my life. Like everything is very much black and white. There's literally 0 or 100. There's no gray area. So if I'm wearing black, I love being able to tie that in with like a sheer moment, being able to tie two trends together with that girly and that edgy chic.
So we talked about your personal style. What would be your signature look?
My signature look, my go-to look, especially if I don't need to think about it, I don't have time to really think about it, is definitely a blazer with a belt. Or even sometimes without a belt, but my go-to signature look is wearing a blazer as a dress. I love it. One thing, I'm a short girl, but I love my legs. It's one of my favorite parts of my body. So I love showing them off. My mom doesn't really like it, but it's about me. I'm grown. So I love showing my legs off, and it also allows me to highlight my heels because 9 out of 10, my heel is going to be the statement of my look anyways. So yeah, a blazer dress, that's my signature style.
Okay, so you said 9 times out of 10 that your heels would be your statement look. What would be your secondary statement piece?
If it's not my heels, it's my bag. I love purses. I love a good bag moment. And so those are the two call outs. Like my purse and my shoes are going to be the moments.
What's one fashion item that you can't live without?
Heels. I can't live without heels. So all of y'all new Gen Zers that y'all don't want to wear heels ever and all y'all want to do is be comfortable, I get it, but I am most comfortable in heels and I cannot live without them. When we were in COVID and we were stuck in a house, I put myself on heel punishment because after sitting on that couch for so long and going outside and trying to put heels on, I was like, I'm not going to be one of those girls that can never wear heels again because I haven't worn them. So I used to wear heels just around my house so that I could still wear heels when we came out of the pandemic.
So as you've been in the fashion industry for some time and you've had a diverse background, what advice would you give someone looking to get into fashion?
I feel like that I went to school to create opportunities, not necessarily for the degree. And so if you can find ways to network and learn more about the industry, study your craft, whether that is in school or on experience with a job, getting an internship with somewhere that you love, like a fashion company that you love. Do that because the connections that you make will open the doors that you need. It's really hard in our industry, unfortunately. And so it really is about some of the people that you know and the doors being open for you. And a lot of doors will be closed, but you just got to keep pushing it. I'm still pushing. And so just because one door closed doesn't mean that the next door won't be opening. But learn everything that you can because you have to be very knowledgeable about this industry. And so learn everything that you can about whatever specific part of the industry that you want to know about in any books, films, TV, movies, but also try to find you a mentor to make things easier.
I love that. So what advice would you give someone who's trying to figure out their own personal style?
Try everything. Figure out what you love, what you don't love. You'll figure it out when you put it on. How does it make you feel? Try everything. And when you're getting dressed, there is a quote, and I think it's a quote from Coco Chanel. When you're getting dressed, and when you at the end, once you finally complete your look and you're like, this is the look, take off one thing. Okay. I'll say even when I was putting this look together, I had on a necklace that I felt like was pulling away from the earring and the headband. Like it was too much. And so I took off the necklace. So I'll take off one thing and your look is complete. But when you're trying to find your style, just try everything and gravitate to the things that make you feel the most confident and that you love the most. And that's how you figure out your personal style.
I love it. So basically try everything. Try it all.
Try it all. Try it all until you figure out what you love.
What would you tell little Karis? Like the little you, what would you say to yourself? You were rough, you were being a tomboy, but you was very much girly. Like what would you tell little Karis growing up, trying to figure it out and try to get into the fashion industry?
I would tell her to never give up. And even when you reach roadblocks, as we all will, continue to push because the person that you were yesterday will be a totally different person than you are tomorrow. And the doors that were closed yesterday will then be open tomorrow. There's so many things that I never knew that I would ever have, like to have a billboard in Times Square, to be published in some, renowned magazines, to be having my first feature film coming out this year. Like there are things that I could have probably never dreamed of or imagined. But if I had not continued to push forward, no matter the doors that were closed or opportunities that were, delayed, I wouldn't be where I am today. So never give up. Continue to push. You have your dreams. Continue to push for your dreams. And also know that those dreams may shift, they may change, and that's okay. But a lot of times they're still going to be in line with where you're wanting to see yourself and where you're going, and just being able to roll with the punches.
Thinking about the amount of times that we have to pivot throughout our career or when we are reaching towards something, what keeps you going?
God and my support system. Really, I'm so grateful for, one, my relationship with God and being able to know that He's never going to fail me and He's always going to be there to catch me when I fall, to open doors, create opportunities, to direct me, to order my steps, all of those things. But then He has also blessed me with such an amazing support system. My best friends, my family that is unmatched, and they really help push me. So the moments that I am down, like, or considering or questioning things, like, I go to God first, but then my friends also help push me forward and remind me of who I am and that I really am that girl. And my therapist. Shout out to you, Jaleesa. I know you watch it.
What inspired you to start Fashion Files?
God. I really am stepping out on obedience, as most of you guys, well, actually, I won't say that most of y'all know, because most of y'all think that this is my comfort zone. Y'all think that this is what I'm good at. This is what I should be doing. People have told me this my whole life. This is not where I am comfortable at. I am comfortable being behind the scenes. I'm comfortable lifting and pushing other people to the forefront and making them look good, sound good, be great. I'm very much a behind the scenes, behind the camera girl. I don't mind. And of course, because I'm so outgoing and I'm such a people person and such a social butterfly, I don't mind being in the spotlight. But if I have the choice, I'm never going to put myself there. I'm normally in the spotlight because other people put me there. But this was a testament of stepping out on faith and being obedient to God. I saw, or I will say that God revealed to me that there was a gap I felt in the podcast community and in the industry. And I was told to fill it. So here I am. And I talked to one of my best friends, Erica, who is interviewing me right now. Well, when all of this came to me, and she was jumped on board immediately. And everything just started to fall into place. And I was just like, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, I have nothing, I can't do anything but say yes. So I'm here to fill a void because I felt like that there was not a fashion podcast that I knew of. If you guys know of some, please share in the comments. But that I knew of that was very much mainstream or that we hear about all the time. And I love watching podcasts. Some of my favorite podcasts I watch on YouTube. I don't really listen to audio for podcasts because I'm such a visual person, but I love watching podcasts like Let's Try This Again with B. Simone, Informality with Megan Ashley, their previous podcast, Know For Sure, R&B Money with Tank and Jay Valentine, Keep It Positive Sweetie with Crystal Hazlett from Sisters, and the list goes on and on. But I didn't know of any fashion podcasts, and so why not start one? So here we are with Fashion Files.
Here we are with Fashion Files. Shout out to stepping out on faith and obedience. So what has been your favorite episode or guest so far?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to say this one. Like, I love being able to get into like why I do what I love and the things that I love about fashion and what has brought me here. And so being able to kind of tell my story, I'm going to have to highlight and say that this is my favorite.
What can listeners expect from future episodes of Fashion Files?
What you guys can expect will be more episodes of getting to know other people that are in the industry and things that you may not know or may not have heard, being able to see new things that are coming when it comes to styling or just in the fashion industry in general, learning a little bit about just like the inside or behind the scenes things that we do in the industry, whether you're a stylist, a costume designer, a makeup artist, photographer, and the list goes on and on and on. Meeting new people that maybe you haven't heard before or introducing you guys to new people in the industry, whether that be somebody that works in the industry or a new designer that you've never heard of before. And then, of course, highlighting things that are happening in the industry like fashion weeks or award shows or red carpet moments or things that celebrities are wearing or how you can bring that into your own wardrobe. Of course, sharing new styling tips and trends and things that you can do to incorporate it into your wardrobe and try out new things. So a little bit about everything, but it'll be all things fashion.
Got some fun questions for you.
Okay.
Rapid fire style.
Okay.
All right. So what's your go-to outfit when you're in a rush?
A blazer dress.
Easy. Okay. Heels or flats?
Heels. I barely even own flats, except for sandals. Heels all day.
Okay. Tea or cocktails?
Both. Both, but I love tea. I love a good tea, so I guess I'll pick tea.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. No coffee. Never coffee, ever, ever. I don't even like the smell of coffee.
Okay. What is a fashion trend you hate right now?
A fashion trend I hate, and I know y'all are going to hate me for this, but I don't care. I hate those tabby boots. I hate them. They make you look like you're wearing horse feet.
Okay. What's your guilty pleasure when it comes to shopping?
Purses. I love purses. I have too many of them, and I'm going to always buy them.
All right. That wraps up those questions.
Okay, so of course, this is my favorite part of the episode is the Style Spotlight.
Flame Fashion Files, you know you drive me wild.
This week's Style Spotlight is yours truly, your host, Karis Reneé. So if you haven't already, definitely give me a follow on Instagram. My name across everything is Everything24Karis. I am inspired by me, and I hope you will be too. And so if you do follow, like and comment on my last post and tell me that you followed me from this episode, #Fashion Files. And if you have somebody that you'd like to see as the Style Spotlight, use the hashtag Flame Style Spotlight, and we may choose them for the next episode. So that's a wrap for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know a little bit about me. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you were inspired by something that I said. And until next time, stay stylish and keep that flame burning bright. Bye.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Fashion Files. We hope you found some inspiration and insight from our conversation today. Fashion is all about expression, and whether you're pushing boundaries or sticking to your signature style, remember to make it your own. Be bold, be fearless, and most of all, be you. We would appreciate it if you would rate, comment, and review the podcast. For more content, updates, behind the scenes, and style tips, follow us on our socials at I Love Flame, host Karis Reneé at Everything24Karis, and visit FlameFashionFiles.com. This show is hosted by Karis Reneé, produced by Erica Clark, and engineered by Podcast Carrie. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your fashion-forward friends. Until next time, stay stylish and keep that flame burning bright.
You know your style is gold. You know I'm sitting front row. I'm your biggest fan, just had to let you know. Just had to let you know. You know I'm sitting front row. I'm your biggest fan, just had to let you know. Just had to let you know.